Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Vampirella number 3, 50th anniversary reboot. And anyhow, this is probably the last book I'm going to do, not because I'm not interested, just because I think 3 is kind of enough for this run, and then I'm going to move on to maybe some other stuff that or as far as modern comics are concerned. Chris Priest kind of jumps us into the action right here. Vampirella breaking through a window. Very good action shot, though, again, a little bit, this is probably needs another narration box here, maybe a couple right here. There's just a lot of dead space in this by Ergun. Again, if like I gotta say, like Ergun, he's not a bad artist. As I've gone through this, he's getting really good in some areas, and definitely he can draw women really well. So very good for Vampirella, but a lot of dead space. Not a huge fan. So Vampirella smokes these Nephilims, these giants, and she's still working with the Catholic Church occult group, and still doing the back and forth with the therapist. And as she's going through killing these giants, she's out to rescue a young child and save them, right? But turns out the young child is actually bad news, and she gets aliened right here pretty badly. And as she's about to fall, she's about to die from some wolves, and then her mom comes and saves her. And this is where things kind of get interesting, because we start to get a little more background. Again, what I really appreciate about Chris Priest and the way he writes this is it's just on the limit of where, if you're a Vampirella fan, obviously you know what's going on, and it's not too much dragging you down. But if you're like me and you're just jumping into this reboot to check it out, you can kind of catch up through inference about what's going on. Again, I still dislike this about modern comics. This is something that kind of died with the Jim Shooter era. And that is, they don't really want to catch you up on the story. They want you to just kind of figure it out. And that's just the way modern comics are. But Chris Priest kind of does a decent job leaving you enough clues to figure out what's going on. So you get kind of an interesting explanation of her mom is kind of criticizing her daughter for some of her life decisions. Mainly for whatever reason, she seems to be working with the church a lot, despite her circumstances and what she's all about. And you get some more interesting back and forth with the mom. And what's really funny is the mom's actually there listening in on the conversation between the therapist and Vampirella. And she's kind of getting tired of this goofy-looking dude, and she decides to fuck with him and give him a heart attack. It's really funny because she gives him a heart attack through her alien powers, I guess is the right to say, and he's kind of like in denial. Post-hypnotic suggestion. Ain't no devil Prada, bitch. I like how this character doesn't give a fuck. He's just gonna play it through to the end. And it is interesting how this chick has a Helen Mirren kind of look going on. And you get some interesting origin stories. Here's an astronaut. He kind of gets, or I guess a human gets transported to their world via a super collider. And that's how Vampirella gets into the Earth world, apparently, in this particular retelling of it. Very cool. Also, true to form, Vampirella hates clothing, and this explains why nobody wears clothing on her planet. And they go back and forth about what she's doing, and it's just mother-daughter talk a lot, right? Going back and forth. I like the facial expressions right here. This is actually, I think Ergun does this very well. I got to give him props. His facial expressions are on point for modern art. A lot of comics don't do good facial expressions, but Ergun, yeah, good job, man. And really interesting, she kind of has some lore here where she, in her youth, may have gone over to Earth and partied with some demons, and the children of such became vampires or something like that. Meanwhile, the therapist is kind of talking and interviewing both of them and trying to figure out what their deal is, right? And it's pretty interesting. He talks to the lady. What I'm curious about, Lilith, why do you need a daughter? You have lots of children. What's missing in your life that you insist on following hers? Character, of course, is like, nice try, not falling for it, right? And then she's like, I vote we kill him, right? And it's really interesting because the writing by Chris Priest through this character is kind of doing some actual deconstruction, like real deconstruction of Vampirella, and in a good way, right? He's not taking away the blood and gore and the obvious sex appeal that makes Vampirella what Vampirella is, but he's trying to delve a little deeper into what makes this character tick, and it's not bad. It went from titty vampire to like what does this character really want? What motivates them to do something, right? Putting some humanity into the character. It's not bad, right? We go back to where she saved the little kid, and this farmer gets approached by the Catholic Church. It's about ready to tell them, get off my property, and the ladies aren't having it. I love this fucking character design. I don't know if this originally came from previous Vampirella issues, but this is dope ass character design. I kind of like it. Again, though, fucking guns changing. So starts off with a Remington 700 series. Now it kind of looks like a Scar, and now it's back to being an AK. The fuck, Ergun? Stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Anyhow, that's it for Vampirella number 3. If you like this review, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments about this issue or Chris Priest, leave them down below. Again, I am not a fan of modern comics. I don't do them often. I decided to do Vampirella just because kind of like Chris Priest, and obviously I wanted to grab the Ethan Van Sciver cover. But I might try a few other modern comics just because there are a few that came out recently that I think are worth talking about. Doing another compare and contrast with other modern comics. So keep your eyes and ears open. I might have another modern comic video in the future, though definitely not going to be a reoccurring thing on my channel. Anyhow, that's it, and I will see you guys next time.